All right, so this is the first tutorial for the um, DI2 VCP 117. Um, so we're going to go ahead and this is going to be an example of a magazine cover, same thing we did in class. So enjoy. As always, if I hear my own voice, I will be extremely upset with you and your grade will be lowered. So make sure I do not hear this. Okay, so first things first, we got to make a new document. Okay, so I'm gonna do after I open up InDesign, just do new document, really hard. Inside of here, you have a bunch of different options. There's you can make your own custom ones as time goes on. You might want to, so you might have like defaults for business cards and things like that. But for now, just use default. The intent is obviously to print eventually. You can choose number of pages, whenever the page starts on, all that other business. The only thing that we need to adjust, let's change just the letter for page size. I don't know why that's on there. The only thing you might feel that you might want to adjust here is the columns and gutter. So the columns are going to be, if you're going to do multiple columns of text or something like that. For now, for this one, it probably just makes sense to have one column and the gutter being one pica. Okay, so the pica, the gutter is the distance between each of the columns. This controls the margins. So right now you can see it's basically 3 picas all the way around, which I think is a little bit heavy. So you'll notice that this is turned on. This makes it so that it constrains all of them instead of just doing them individually in case I wanted different margins for each side. So I'm going to make sure that that's on, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to make it, let's say 1.5 picas. Okay. Which you'll all notice that automatically converted. Now, if I'm in normal view here, you should be in normal, you'll notice that you can actually see your margin lines, okay? Basically, it's just a wireframe showing what you have. In this case, what we're gonna do is make an ad of for facial hair for children, because I think that's something that's really needed these days. So to do that, we're gonna have to bring in our different elements. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring in just my main picture, which is my son. So file, and I'm going to place, and I'm going to look for the image of him that I have. So I made a folder called Evil Charlie. That's this one. So whatever you're using, and I'm gonna open, and you'll see it shows up a little icon. And when I click, that will be the top upper corner, and it will create the image. So you can see here, it's floating along. As long as I click out here, it'll move the entire outside window and the image underneath. If you click in here where there's the hand, it's just going to move the image underneath, and you can actually see the image window when I have that selected, the little brown line there, okay? So make sure that you're grabbing the outside. Now that being said, he's obviously too large. So what I'm going to do, for some reason it's stuck on there. Okay. So what I'm going to do is resize this. Now, if I just grab here without pressing anything, it's going to resize the window, but it's not going to resize the graphic underneath. So to do both at the same time, you have to either hit Control Shift or Command Shift, and the command will do the scaling, but the Shift allows you to keep it constrained, just like in Photoshop. So I'm just going to do Control Shift in my case. Yours will probably be Command Shift. I'm just going to scale this. Hopefully it's not responding real fast. So, all right, and it's still a little big. I'm going to scale this down a little bit more. All right, and you'll notice if I hover over the side here, you can see it turns into a rotation. So I'm just going to go ahead and rotate this because he's a little bit crooked. So, and I'm going to place that like that, and we're going to call that good. Okay, so the first thing I should have done is opened up my layers panel here, and what you'll notice is I have layer 1, and I put this in here. So I'm going to rename this layer, and I'm just going to call it graphics. Okay, it's always a good idea to have a bunch of different layers for all the different elements. So I'll make another layer, and we'll call this one text. Okay, and then we'll make another layer, and we're going to call this one background. All right, this way I can lock these just like you do in Photoshop. I'm going to take my background, I'm going to grab that and put that in the back. And I'm going to go ahead and make my background color. Probably should have done that before I brought in the graphic, but yeah, it's done now. So to do that, I am going to go ahead and let me see, make sure I'm going to click. Yeah, we'll leave that at normal. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and draw my going to use this rectangle tool. Okay, so I'm going to start from the top here, and you'll notice it kind of, the little arrow will pop up that lets you know it's snapping, and I'll pull that down to the bottom. Okay, and you can see they're smart guides, so they'll automatically snap to the correct things. So I went ahead and I made my shape. Now what you'll notice is if I click off, all it has is an outline. Okay, that's because up here you can see that the fill is nothing, and the outline, the stroke, is black. I actually kind of want to do the opposite. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to choose none, and I'm going to take my fill and I'm going to well, really none of these are really doing it for me. So I'm going to actually have to make a new color. So instead of just straight up choosing a color, I'm going to go ahead and choose the gradient tool, which is this guy right here. And I am going to click and drag, which actually I'm not real happy with that. So I'm going to do that, Command Z or Control Z. I'm planning on putting the logo up here. So I want the light source to kind of be up there to kind of highlight it. And then the amount that you drag it is how much the gradient is going to go across. So you see if I do it really short, it's just going to be right there. And if I do it really long, it will be over a larger stretch. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to kind of do something like this, kind of, because I kind of want the whole area to get filled. Now, right off the bat, you can see that's not necessarily, it might not be the colors and stuff you want. In this case, it's not. So I'm going to go ahead and go in here, and I'm going to choose to make a new swatch. Okay, and you see it made a new gradient swatch. And then I'll just double click on that, and it'll bring up the options for the gradient. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and put like neutral, in case I want to use this later, neutral gradient, we'll call it. Okay, and instead of doing a linear one, I'm going to go ahead and use radial, right? So it makes it it's a circle instead. I'm going to click on preview so I can actually see it here. So I'm going to go ahead and choose radial, and then right here I got my color. So I kind of wanted to make this more neutral just because I'm picturing this being kind of classy, because he's got a mustache that should be kind of classy. So I'm going to up this to put a little yellow in there, all right? Because we're using CMYK because it's print. Then I'll select this one, and you can see right here it automatically went to swatches. You can choose one of these if you wanted, or if you just choose back to CMYK, you can get back to your business up here. So again, I'm just going to take this and go like that and try to just get something that's got an okay tone, and then we'll hit OK. Obviously it kind of overrode what I did with my gradient tool, so while I still have the gradient tool selected, I'm just going to kind of do the same thing, and you can see now it's back to what I wanted. Yay. All right, so that's my background. I'm going to call that good. I'm going to go ahead and click this, and that will lock that, and now you'll notice that I won't accidentally select it. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and unlock that because, oh no, it's good, never mind. I thought maybe I had a stroke. It looked like there was a stroke, but I think it's just the page. All right. So now that I have that and I got him in there, I need to start putting my other business in here. Okay, so now you notice when I put this image in, I actually just went place and basically pasted it from a file. The other option is to actually put in placeholders and then put them and then insert into those boxes. So you can really use either one of these interchangeably, either the rectangle tool or the rectangle frame tool. Generally the rectangle frame tool is probably a little more popular just because it puts an X in it, so I think it just is visually easier to understand. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, oops, I'm still in the background, so this is still going to be graphic, cancel. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use this, and I'm going to click and draw, and we'll go, so that's right about halfway, and you'll see it makes this little rectangular X, okay? So I can do it a couple different ways. If I have this selected when I go to place, actually I'll just go ahead and do it this way, and I go to place, oops, that's not what I want to do, and I do place, you'll see that I can now choose what I want. So I already have these graphics already made, so you can see MA logo. I'm going to go ahead and hit open, and it will automatically put it right inside that box, which is pretty nice, okay? Since this is kind of exactly what I want, in order to make sure that it's exactly the same size as this, you can see that this box fits this perfectly. It goes right to the edge. This one does not. If I click on the actual image, you can see it's actually smaller. So in order to kind of fix that, just so that's the same, makes it easier, I'm going to go ahead and double click on this, and that will actually shrink it. So I went diagonal. If I just did the one, it'll only do it to the top and bottom. And if I do it to this side, it'll do it that way. But I want to do it to both, so I'm just going to go like that. That way it's, you know, straight and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it up and just snap it right to my margin here. And that way, you know, it'll look good. All right, so the other way of kind of doing this is I could also, if I have another graphic down here, I'm going to use, I can do kind of the same thing. I can just click this and go like that. I don't really know exactly what it needs to look like. So if I don't have it selected, and I just have that box there, and so you could lay out all your images just through these boxes and don't actually put anything in yet. If I don't have it selected, if I go to File and I do Place, and I'll grab my picture and it's an M, and you'll see I get the little thing here. But watch what happens when I hover over this and I click in there. It'll actually insert it into that box. Okay, so you can make your boxes first and kind of lay out and look at it more from an abstract point of view, or you can actually just go ahead and, you know, do what you need to do. I'm gonna go ahead and actually rotate this. So I'm just gonna hold Shift while I click and drag, which doesn't seem to be working. Let's try it again. Okay, there we go. Oof, it's just really slow. Okay, come on. Let's try that again. Okay, I think that's it. No. Yeah, I'm not getting much of a preview. All right, let's try this. So there's another way to go about doing this. You could do it manually, but I'm not getting, because of the screen capture, it's interrupting my stuff here. So what I'm gonna do is up here, I can manually type in these different things here. So if you look, I can click on this, which will rotate 90 degrees clockwise. So I'm just gonna click this twice, and that'll make it turn around. That's what I wanted to do. All right, once again, I'm just gonna go ahead and click this just so that it's the same size as the graphic. It'll kind of help, okay? All right, so looking pretty good, making me pretty happy. Oops, all right, all good. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to insert some text in here, okay? So I'm just going to show you kind of what we already did. I'm going to go ahead and just go ahead. I could make a text box. Instead, I'm just going to go ahead and use the rectangle tool again, or the rectangle frame tool, okay? So I'm going to click and drag, and I'm going to have it kind of go like this. Now inside of this, what I actually want to have happen is I want to put some text, but imagine if you were working for a magazine, usually you might be the designer, but you're not necessarily the text editor. They would have that already written out, and usually they probably would have it written in Word. So in this case, what I can do is actually go File, go Place, and I can select, you can see right here, I have Add Text. All right, and you can see it shows me, it kind of has the first little preview of what's in there. And you'll notice that when I hover in here, I don't know if you can see it, but it will actually click and it will place it right inside of that box. Yay, okay, good. So that's, again, I could lay out everything in a more abstract way and then afterwards, you know, put what I want. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and just grab this font, and you see there's paragraph or character. I'm gonna have character because that'll allow me to actually adjust what the font is and things related to that, as well as the color. And I'm gonna go ahead and choose, I'm gonna use fonts that are similar to what's already in here and just kind of utilize what I already have. I've already done this one a couple times, so I already know what I need. So I'm gonna do the bend 2 squares, this font, okay? And I also need to be considerably larger. So we'll try 36, we'll try 48. All right, we'll do 48. Actually, that does not look like the right font. I thought that was it. Trajan Pro. That's it. Okay, and 48 is way too big. And let's try 36. Okay, so one of the issues that you may have already noticed is that it's kind of going over top of him. What I would actually like it to do is wrap around him, right? So it doesn't overlap. It might not look that good, okay? So what I'm gonna do in order to do that is, hang on one second, I just wanna see where my time is at. All right, so we're at 13.5 minutes, so we gotta do this quickly. So what I want to do is I actually want to wrap around this, okay? Wrap around the kid and just fit inside the space in between. So to do that, I need to actually select him. And then if you go over here and look for text wrap, and if it's not there, you almost have a bunch of these panels over here. If they don't show up over there, you can always just go and find it in here. So you can see it's already checked on because I have it over here. All right, so I'm gonna click on this text wrap, and what you're gonna notice is it goes boom. And the reason, and it looks like it kind of worked, but it kind of didn't. What it's actually doing is to the image frame and not the actual image. In order to make that happen, I have to choose not the same as clipping, but the alpha channel, and that will actually use the alpha channel. You can see now there's an outline. It'll actually use the alpha channel of the image in order to make it, you know, work. Another thing I'm not real happy with, if you look here, I'm gonna double click in here, or if I was still on the V tool, I could just hit T for type and click inside there, is that this is getting hyphened, meaning that it does X accessories. I kinda wanna get rid of that. So if I go into the paragraph, because that's a paragraph thing, you see hyphen, I'm gonna turn that off. That way I don't have that, Okay, looks a little better to me. So what I'm about to do is select all this font. I'm going to go back to character, and then